Hi everybody, nice to see you. I did take a few days to relax, maybe do a few thrift stores and go out for lunch, and it was nice because it's been busy and it's been hectic, and I hope you've taken some time for yourself. And we all love our time with our orchids, and I've done some new pots. I have a new pot on the way, and we're going to discuss what pots are working for me, and anybody that's maybe in a similar climate. And we've had a bunch of rain lately, and if I open the windows and let some of that humidity in, the humidity's staying about 60. So I don't run the misters when my humidity is staying that good. It does help to open the windows because at night it's cold, it's snow in the mountains, it's freezing, and the furnace is on, and the air gets dry very quickly. And if you are wondering and you don't have a little gauge that tells you your humidity in your home, then you should get one. They're not expensive. There's cheaper ones and more expensive ones, but it's a good thing to know. And I can tell looking at my orchids, like yesterday was watering day, but even the day before watering day, if the humidity is staying pretty good, all those aerial roots will still be a shade of green. They won't be dry and cracking. And if they are looking dry and cracking, then you should deal with it by trying to get them in an area where they got some humidity to perk them back up. Like maybe in your shower. Maybe you could take them in your shower, turn the shower on, close the shower door, and just let them enjoy that for a while and then bring them back out. Or you could get a damp paper towel or a damp tea towel, soak it in water, wrap it around your orchid and let it, I always say that's a spa day, and let them absorb some of that humidity. It'll cool down quick, and you may want to do it 3 times because those aerial roots are getting a lot of good things in the air to feed the plant. So some people might even put a glass of water there because there's one hanging way down. It looks dry and they want to absorb some of that humidity in the air. Even that way, but you can tell, and you know that that dry air in your house, it's not good for you to be too dry either. I think around 50% or something is good, but you'll start to get a dry cough, or maybe it's just not as healthy. So you should do a little searching out about what humidity is good for you. Now, I have a lot of humidity misting bowls. They're not been running lately because our humidity is good, but the bowls of water are sitting there, plus they're in their own little community where they each help each other. So all that is working. So that's just a little start on today's schedule. Now, I've been working on a new traffic cone. Jack made this from scratch, this stand, out of metal, and he made the feet, and he sawed it, he did the whole thing. And then I bought this traffic cone, and I wanted to do something different, and I'm going to just show you. I put some flowers. Anybody can do this. I put gesso on first, and then when that's dry, I paint. You have to make sure you sand that rubber. You can look inside. There's the traffic cone. So I sand that rubber, put gesso. And if you're not good at drawing, you got a kid's coloring book. It's got birds in it. It's got trees in it. All you have to do is cut it out, trace it on there, and pretend you're coloring with paint. It's not very difficult. So I kind of did trees and flowers freehand. And I tried to use this as a frame for the pictures. So then I did a couple birds. I actually just cut out a couple birds I had a picture of somewhere, and then I just free painted it. Just painted what I thought should be where. And the same with the fish. I cut out some paper patterns, traced them, and then just paint how I want to paint. So, whoops. So there's the whole thing. And when the two orchids that are in the pot that was broken, when they're in blossom, I'll probably put them in here, but I don't like to move them when they're just getting their spikes and just in buds. So we're gonna wait, but that's the plan for this. So I'll just move this over here. Now, like I said, we were doing some garage sailing, and we have a restore store. It's new here in Salmon Arm, and they have a lot of secondhand stuff people just donate. And I found this traffic cone. It was $2. Now, it said Abbotsford, oops, it said Abbotsford on it, and Jack kind of roughed it up. It was really dirty, and it was all ripped on the bottom, and he just sliced that off and put the holes in. I love this size hole, and I'll tell you more about that after. So my orchids do really good in the traffic cones. And one reason I want to explain, if like in the winter we're so dry, in the summer we're dry, and luckily sometimes we also have good humidity because of the lake. But last summer, no rain all summer. And why do I like these? Because they're rubber, so they help hold humidity in. But I like these big holes and lots of them because airflow. Also, you know, if I have nothing against clear pots, it's just the decorative side of me loves to play with the pots and the orchids together. So through these holes, they are getting light. They can photosynthesis. They do not have to be in a clear pot. If these holes are nice and big, no problem. So that's the other thing. So I can grow in bark, or I could add a little lava rock, or if you have a pot that you have trouble with being wet, then maybe some charcoal would be a good thing to put in that. But the other good thing about these is they're tapered. So usually the driest part of your pot is on the surface where they're bigger. And as they taper in, and the holes are just as many, it dries easier. So the bottom part of your pot, where a lot of times you do get rotten roots because the water can settle in the bottom, it doesn't happen with the traffic cones. So this little traffic cone here, it has, I picked this up at the thrift store, Church's thrift store here, and it's grapevines. It was $2. This was $2. Jack drilled the holes. I'm going to paint grapevines and grapes because that's what's on this. And this, and I want to explain what orchid will be going in this. Now, this is Moon Glow, and anybody that knows me, she's probably my second oldest orchid. And, you know, as life goes on, all the orchids, and even us people, have issues. And she's had a few issues in the past, but she's doing good now. Now, this is the only pot I have that when I water, I smell a musty smell. And I've had trouble with this pot before. It can sometimes get a little moldy in the bottom. Why? These holes are too small. when I take this plant out of here and put it in this traffic cone when it's ready, and I won't do it till it's in bloom, I'm going to solve that. And Jack says he's going to solve this by making these holes bigger. There is a little light gets in there, but I think for the thickness of how big this pot is, and this was just a normal pot he drilled holes in, it just isn't drying quick enough down in there. But Moongold has 2 spikes coming, one there and one off an old stem that I didn't cut right off. So that's another thing about pots and airflow. Anybody like in the northern hemisphere, pay attention. So I want to talk a little bit about pots. We're going to move this away. There we go. Now, and this traffic cone here, there's smaller ones. I've been fine with the rubber ones, but if you see those hard plastic ones at the dollar store, they do not hold the paint. I've never had the paint come off. I always put 2 coats of everything outside and inside and let it dry for weeks before I put a plant in. So this was a smaller one, but it's rubber, and I did a kind of dirty poor paint job on it, and it's doing good too. So there's all sizes, and you can be creative. This is something we just found somewhere, this stand, and it just happened to fit a traffic cone. But I want to talk about how you choose your pots and which pots I find best. And as you know, I've been playing with putting orchids 2 together, and this was a big pot. And it's heavy, but it has nice big holes, and I divided it in 2. Now, the main orchid, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess 8 leaves, 8 healthy leaves, very firm. This is my an older orchid I had that I put into bark, so it didn't get any shock. This orchid was one I just got on Valentine's Day. It was also white, they're both white. And this one grew 1 tiny leaf, a sign of having trouble. But, you know, as long as you check the pot every, about a month or 2 after you got it, clean it up, put it back, it'll be fine. So anyway, it's going to spike too. It's much tinier, and it's in the back, but it does have a little spike. And these ones I put in the shower. Let me see if you can see in there. Yeah, it does have a little spike, so they'll both be in spike this winter, which is nice. So, other pots that I use, and I started out with these. I think these pots are fine. They have nice big holes. Yes, light can get in there for photosynthesis. Not like a clear pot, but it can get in. And most of your photosynthesis comes from your leaves and any roots. Now, this is my oldest orchid. I almost lost the one there's a tiny piece of in that pot on the counter. But it's got a nice spike coming, and I like these pots. But my main thing is I like to play. But other than playing with traffic cones, and I'll show you something else, these are very good pots. Very happy with them. The orchids always have done well in them. I have a couple, well, I have more than a couple. I have a few spread around. So, then I played around, and this was a piece of plastic, but also the same idea. It tapers down. So even though it's real wide at the top, where your pot usually dries out quicker, it's narrower at the bottom, so there's no chance that it's going to rot. And you can see these roots. When you look at your roots, there's lots of roots in here. Some are growing real fast, some are older roots. but they're happy. They're living off of the humidity in the air. Don't get rid of your aerial roots there. It's so good for the plant. So those are both orangey yellows. I have liked putting more orchids than one together, and they each help each other out in their own way. But, okay, while we're talking about pots, quite a few years ago I started finding these wire baskets, and I found some matting. It comes in a roll, core matting, and I put them on these baskets myself. And they have always done well. It's in spike, and they're always hanging in the heat, even the little ones like this. They dry out quick, but I'll tell you, if you're wondering, is this too dry? If you feel this, you can feel if it's cool, then it's got some moisture in there still sometime. I never give this extra watering. It always goes once a week like all the other orchids. Okay? And even the little one that's in the matting. So I have the 3, and they both do good. Now, as you know, as a gift, I got these nice little baskets. And I am liking them because when I was reading about these orchids, and this one here is Felsogo-Vecker, and she is polaric. So she is going to have an unusual flower if I get her to bloom. But what did I learn about her is she lives in the bottom of the forest, near water sources like rivers or whatever, and she's used to a lot of humidity. She's used to being wet, but she's also used to being dry quickly. So really, these pots, I thought, are perfect for this type, and I have another one that I put in. So what I've done is I use these, and they don't like to dry out really. They like to, so I made sure I feel them like it was watering day on Wednesday, and it still feels damp, so I think it's okay. So with these ones, I can mist the top where I know the bark is dry because I know they like a little more moisture. And I'd say, oh, it doesn't need water run through. Maybe halfway through. Maybe I'll be doing Wednesday and Sunday. But the good thing about these is you can feel them. You can feel there's still moisture in there, and you say to yourself, well, all it needs is a little misting on the top. And I don't mist the fells on the bark per se. But these ones that I know like to be a little moisture, yes, I will mist the bark. Because a lot of people will put moss on the top, or you could dampen a paper towel and leave it there for a while. But for me, I like moss. But for me, I just haven't done good with it. And all my orchids they look drop on the top, and they have a bark, all of them. And they're fine. The aerial roots are fine, but the only reason is we got humidity. When we don't have humidity, I have the misters. Humidity is very important, especially when this isn't a grow room, this is the kitchen, or if you have them in your house somewhere else. Now, if you have had real dry weather, that's when I would say, well, you know, and the aerial roots are looking shriveled, then sure, put them in your bathtub, your shower, give them a good rinse, leave them there for the day. Let those roots just absorb the air and all the moisture from there. So anyway, I put this one in here, and that's how I'm looking after it. And so far, so good. And we'll be waiting, and I hope I never have to say something happened to it, but it's a little flower there coming. And the leaves for the parents is mottled, so the leaves are kind of dark with a little different color. So I'm liking these. And these are 8-inch across. And I'm liking them so much I hunted on the web and found a Canadian company that has 6-inch ones that look the same. So some of the ones I know that like similar care, not my fells, but these ones I may use all this type of basket because I'm very happy with it. And I know these ones still have done good and they don't get any special care. So pots do make a difference, but airflow, humidity, light, yes. So I wanted to tell you that. And now, I saw something very unusual. Let me bring this over here. And I thought, let me move things out the way so that we can see. Okay. I don't know why I never noticed on watering day, but I didn't. I didn't see anything different. I watered it. She's a smaller orchid. She has one big leaf though. This is an original leaf. And I've had her a long time in this pot. And I did change the media, I think last year or the year before. It's the smaller bark anyway. So I'm thinking, why didn't I notice that? Now I'm going to try and dump some of the bark out so I can show you what I'm talking about. See if we can see where it's coming from. Okay, that helped. Now, see, this bark is mostly dry, and that's because it was watering day Wednesday, and the top does dry, but that's how I grow. And once they're accustomed to growing this way, and the roots become very, very hardy. They can take a little neglect along the way. They survived the summer where it was no rain, and even in the house with no air conditioner, it was well over 90. Day after month after month, we're getting the air conditioner in, I think. But anyway, there's one spike I can't show you coming between these two leaves, but it's very crisp in there and it's very small. But this is what I noticed. Okay, so I got to get this in here so you can see it. Do you see two tiny little spikes? There's two. And they're coming from way down, and I looked and I hunted. They're coming out of the main. They're coming out of years ago where they already gave a spike. And I thought, oh, this is weird. So I thought, wow, why would it be doing that? Well, that plant is healthy. The roots are healthy. So that's good. And I started hunting the internet. And in the description, I'll put a video. Miss Orchid Girl talked about this. She had one of the orchids I just got that was not the Polark one, but the other one. She was, I'm trying to think of the name. Okay, just wait. Mini Mark. It was a Mini Mark. And hers was doing the same thing. It was a bigger plant. She had it longer. It was doing the same thing. She says, not to worry, the plant is healthy. I mean, it just wants to give some spikes, breed under old spikes from years ago. So, pretty amazing. We'll wait and see what happens. And I'll put this bark back. And they're so tiny, but yeah, they're just coming up. And it might be just in its breeding, might be something it does, but this one has beautiful flowers, so I'm quite excited about it. And I think there is a spike coming. There's kind of way in, a couple little bumps, but they're not enough to show anybody, and only somebody like Inspector Crusoe or somebody that has a magnifying glass. And these are my little tools when I want to look at something. And this is terrific, and you can look right in there. I should show you under light. Maybe I can do that. The light does help. You can see in there. Yeah. Very interesting. Never seen it before, but that's what's fun about our orchids. We keep our eye on them, and we're always learning something that we can share with each other. So I wanted to share that with you. And most of my orchids are in spike. And I think that's it for today. So if you want to email me, you can email me at carolynorchidfriends@gmail.com. I'll leave that in the description. If you want to send a picture, ask a question about an orchid of the community, you can send the picture there. I will take a snapshot of it and put it on to the community channel for you, because you're not able to do that. But maybe one day YouTube will make it so people can upload photos. But right now I have to do it, and with your permission, when you send me the picture, then I'm okay to do it as long as I have your permission, and then we put them up. And oh, there's some orchids there that are beautiful, and people have had 40-something looks, so it's doing pretty good. It's doing pretty good. And it's a nice place for you guys to talk to each other. So I hope that helps. Any questions, don't be afraid to ask. And that'll be it till next time. And we'll see you then. Bye.